Lamaze class.
Okay. We're live.
Like you're supposed to start talking now, Brooke. You're the host.
It's my show. Hey, welcome everybody. Richard Bliss Brooke here. Welcome to the Tom Chenault Show. Hey! I have the great honor and privilege of standing Tom Chenault on his head today. He doesn't get to ask any questions. He doesn't get to banner. He doesn't get to interview anybody. I'm going to interview him. And I have some serious questions for you, Mr. Chenault. So pay close attention and give me your deepest, brightest, most profound wisdom. Are you ready?
I am so ready. You know what's so funny is I was just looking at some pictures of when you showed up in Longmont and you rode in the Vespa. I've still got that picture. And then I have another picture of when you came to Longmont and you stood outside of my old green car, that 32 Ford. And
Yes.
you told me you had one of those when you were in high school, which I thought was epic. I didn't realize you were in high school in 1932. So that was awesome. So I am like this has been a Richard, and I spent all day looking for that video of you and I walking the beach in Noosa, because one of the great times of my life was spending 2 days with you and Kimmy at your home and Haley. And I just can't thank you enough. I've never hung around with legends for so long before, and it was epic, sir.
You are. Well, I got a staff member is going to post that live in the comments. That was a lot of fun. You and I roaming the streets of Noosa, Australia, and the beach. And we started connecting with people and meeting people. And actually, Tom, that lady we met on the beach, she and I are in constant communication. She's coming to Hawaii sometime in the fall. And so we're friends.
That lady that owned the flower shop, that old lady?
Oh, yeah. I've played golf with her husband. And yeah, we're super tight.
Unbelievable.
And it comes from my first question. So the context of my question is our mutual good friend, John Milton Fogg, about 50 years ago, wrote the first generic book in network marketing that I give credit for what I call the renaissance of network marketing, like starting the movement to move network marketing out of the dark ages into the light ages, into the love ages, out of manipulation and telling people what they should do and slamming people into our business and our products. John wrote this book called The Greatest Networker in the World. And I just want your listening audience to know that I consider Tom Chenault to be the greatest networker in the world. And today's interview is going to be about how he does that, including how do you do it on the beach in Noosa, Australia, wandering around actually with, we got the what do you call it? The selfie stick and
It's horrible.
We got our iPhones and people are going, who are these goofballs? And he even turned that into a connection. So here's my first question. And this is a serious question, and I want you to riff on it for a minute or so. So the first step for those of us in network marketing, once we've burned through our phone, we've talked to everybody we know, or at least we think we have, and now we're out in the world, whether it's Starbucks or we're on social media or we're walking the beaches of Noosa, and our job is to add more people to our phone, add more people to contact mapping, plug number one, parentheses, unparentheses.
.com.
So my question is, Tom, how exactly do you do that? You're in close proximity to another human being, either virtually online or on the beach. You're within earshot. How do you connect?
Every one of us, no matter how we are looking our best, being our best, we are doing our best to be at our worst sometimes. All of us really have a conscious effort to draw attention to ourselves. And we don't, whether it's our earrings I just know that I try to find the thing that people want to talk about themselves the most. and then I ask questions about it.
Well, how do you do that? Like, how do you make the first conversation? So I'm on the beach, you're on the beach, you're 6 feet away. You know, you could throw a stick at me and start a conversation. How do you do it?
You know, man, I am from Colorado. You are obviously of like skin to me. I am looking at you right now, and you've got a tan, and I've never been able to get a tan in my life. Is that some sort of sunscreen you use, sir, or what is it that you're able to look so tan in this extreme heat in Hawaii, and I look like a tomato?
There you go. There it is, folks.
Say to me is, oh my gosh, I used Tahitian noni or Tahitian form. What is it called? Tahitian form, you know, the dark tan stuff.
Yeah.
You would feel handsome, you would feel tan, and you would start talking, and you wouldn't stop until I had to spin you another direction. Because what we want to talk about is ourselves. What we like the most about is ourselves. What we think about the most is ourselves. And once you get out of your head and into theirs, you just got to hire your ears.
Yeah. So let me ask you about that tan line. Is that in a book somewhere? Is that a script?
No, scripts are ridiculous. You've got to have base questions. And I watched an unbelievable riff by Ray Higdon this morning.
Yeah.
Don't be corny, be authentic. Don't play like you don't ever want to sell anybody anything, because they're not going to believe that. Be real. One thing I know about you right now, Brooke, is you're trying to sell me a Hawaiian shirt.
All right. So the next step, well, here's what I want to say about that for the listeners that don't get what Tom just said. So he just made that up, number one, about the whole tan thing. And so that's how he would connect with me. He just made it up. It's not in a book. But so let me ask you this, Tom, about that. What is the thought that goes through your head that gives you the courage to risk starting a conversation with somebody you don't know? What gives you the green light to do that?
I'm a Myers-Briggs closet introvert. The reason I can do that is fear. I am petrified of you. I'm petrified of James across the table here that's producing this show. Everywhere I go, I am trying to divert attention from me with questions so I don't have to do the talking. So it becomes very, very easy for me. I have trained myself all my life to be interested instead of interesting, to divert the attention away from me. And where I got really, really good was documenting and remembering that, Richard. Because I am telling you what, I am not a brave man. I am literally, if you come to a party anywhere, ANMP, GoPro, anywhere, that's me standing over in the corner. It's just when I realize I have to do something that I go do it. Does that make sense?
I get it. All right. So second step, once you connect, you got to move people to what you call the coffee shop. How do you move people to the coffee shop interview? And what is the coffee shop interview? But focus first on, how do you move people from the beach to the coffee shop?
I listen really, really well. I'm like, people don't realize, I've been in the radio business for years, and I ended up being a really good listener as a result of that. And I listen to questions really, really hard. And I listen to answers really hard of the great questions I ask. And everybody thinks you have to ask great questions, which might be true. But what you have to get the hang of is really learning how to listen to those great questions that you ask. And that means you have to fire your brain and hire your heart. And you have to be with that person that's answering the question, even though you're thinking about your next question, which nobody does. It's all this whole distraction world that's very infuriating for all of us, especially if they've got a telephone in the middle of it and they're texting and doing all that jazz. When we started today, you warned me that if I was on my phone or doing any multitasking, you were gonna slap me down for it. So I've been very, very conscious of that. So yeah, true story. So I listen hard and I ask questions with an intent. And my intent is to find out really what I want to know, how people's lives are. That's critically important. What's going on with their money, their time, and their health. And the second thing I'm trying to find out is what they just don't want to buy. If somebody said, you know, because network marketers have been trained by Mark Yarnell and everybody else, God rest his soul, good friend of ours, but everybody's got that 3-foot rule and you're supposed to throw up on anybody within 3 feet. And that is insanity. My job is to have a conversation, a powerful conversation, find out what you want to buy, find out what you don't want to buy, and then come back and tell people that I have an idea for them that might solve that problem they told me they had in their life. And my product might be something they want to buy. And I'm not going to bring, you know, I'm a big guy. Every time I turn around, somebody's heaving a shake or a weight loss wafer, or even worse yet, an essential oil that's going to have me lose all this weight.
So that's how you move people to the coffee shop, is you come back and say something like, hey, when you told me that your brand new puppy is peeing all over the house, like, I got a product that'll solve that. Or is that how you move them to the coffee shop?
I've been thinking about that damn dog of yours peeing all over the house. And I have got a video about these CBD treats that are gonna help that dog not pee all over the house. I've got a little video. Do you want to see it, or do you want to complain about your smelly carpet all your life? That's that simple.
This is what you need to be selling to me.
What is that?
It's a potty pad.
There you go. That's exactly right.
We got 20 of these all over the house.
Oh my God, you have to. And that guy, whoever spotted that and said, man, this guy's loaded. Look at that Hawaiian shirt. Let's not just sell him one, let's sell him 20. Mr. Brooke, you look like you're the kind of guy that loves your dog. I think you need one of these in every room of that 20-room mansion. Okay, yeah. I'll take it, because you sold him what he wanted to buy.
Exactly. We're on auto ship. They come in. Hey, all right. So you got people in the coffee shop now. What is the coffee shop interview? What is that conversation? What does it sound like? What does it look like?
It's authentic. And the only thing in the coffee shop interview that is scripted is, I've been thinking about you. That's it. You do the interview on people. You come back to them and say, I've been thinking about you. And if you're Ray Higdon, you're going to say, would you be open to this or be open to that? That's on the other side of, I've been thinking about you. Because all I want in my life is to be thought of. But I don't want to be thought of with a script or a soundbite. I want somebody to actually care and say, man, you told me that you had something going on, Tom, whatever I have going on. You're a very, Tom, you seem to have, Dominic this morning told me I seem to have a little anxiety when we're trying to move out of our house and into my mother's in-law's house. The kid could have waited to about 15 minutes and said, hey, Tom, try this for $50 and you're going to feel a lot better. And I would have been in, because it was I have got anxiety right now over this move. I'm moving out of a house I love. And so we got to take a break. We're going to come back right after this. I thought he was a talk show host. He should have cut me off about 5 minutes before that question.
I don't know when the break is.
Well, you're a terrible talk show host. Here's the thing. I showed it to you. We're right into this. We're on the Genesis Communication Network. Tom Chenault and Richard Brooke. Stick around.
You wouldn't believe how many people listen to the Genesis Network.
You know who's on there? So we're on break right now, so we're not going to insult the guy, thank God. You know how many people, that's who has Alex Jones, Mary Lou Henner, George Norrie. This guy is big time, this Ted Anderson, and Michael Zwirling, and they have let me host my show on their 550 radio stations for years for free. I love them with all my heart.
Of course you do.
How about that? So talk to me. Okay, so this is the break. So you get to talk about anything you want, Richard. How about your books? We'll talk about those during that while we're on the big radio.
No. You don't get to do this. This is me interviewing you. So I have a question for you at break. What are you up to right now? What's high on your list in the next 3 or 4 months, personally and professionally? Where are you going? Where are you speaking? When are you moving into your new house? What about your new boat that I think is an old boat? What, tell me some stories. Start with, where are you going and what are you doing as TomChenault.com in the next couple of months?
TomChenault.com is moving into his mother-in-law's house for the month of August, September, and then we supposedly move in October. So that story is going to be called Tom Travel Time, because it will be a cold day in heck that I'm home with Denise, the dog, and her mother-in-law. So you can count on this guy being on an airplane, traveling anywhere anyone will have me. Now, my priorities in my life are God. That's number one. Number two is probably me, probably my sobriety. Then it goes down through Denise and the children. And then it goes contact mapping. Then it goes network marketing. So that's the pyramid of Tom Chenault. So whatever I can do to further those conversations. So here's the deal. Yeah, network marketing is my job. I don't tell people that. That's my job. This is what I do for a living. My passion is alcohol, drugs, and helping people get off of that. And my big passion and my legacy is the contactmapping.com. That is what drives Tom Chenault out of his bed every morning, trying to make better human beings out of people, because I think I can touch everybody on this planet one of these days and teach them how to remember things about people.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that after the break. When's the break over?
We have about another 1 minute on the dot.
How would I know that as the host?
You don't. Okay, I'll hold this. When it says
I sent you an email and it has all the time.
No, he doesn't open email. This is like training that puppy. Okay, so this will, at 23, we're back on the real radio, and this is just the commercials. So this is where you get to talk about anything you want.
Yeah, I am directing the conversation, so we're talking about you, and so you got like 9 contact mapping commercials into that break. Congratulations.
We're still on it. .com. Yes.
So while we got 30 seconds left, what are you doing to promote contactmapping.com?
You can't go on LinkedIn. You can't go on Twitter. You can't go on Facebook without hearing about it. We're setting up a big contact mapping symposium in Denver, Colorado, and we're going to have Higdon here. We're going to have Brooke here. We're going to have all these rock stars and icons of network marketing, and we're back. Hang on,
We're back. We're back from commercial. Well, one of the things we did, folks,
You're a terrible talk show host. Hello, everybody. We're back. This is the Tom Chenault Show. Thanks for listening on the Genesis Communication Network. The show is being hosted by the great Richard Brooke over in Hawaii, and he's actually switched the tables on me, and he is actually asking the questions, and I'm doing the answering, which is very uncomfortable for me. And Richard, back to you.
Wow, you're kind of like my Ed McMahon, aren't you? I love that.
This is awesome.
All right, folks. So we've been talking about connecting with people. We've been talking about moving people to the to the coffee shop interview. We have been at break talking a lot about contact mapping, which will work into this conversation, I'm sure. So the question now, Tom, is like what we're doing as network marketers is we are enrolling people either as customers or ambassadors, recruiters, distributors, whatever you want to call them. How do you move people from a coffee shop interview to actually enrolling either as a customer or somebody that sees the opportunity to do what we do for a living? How's that conversation go?
Okay.
Where does it go?
That is such a brilliant question. I would have thought I wrote it.
Hi, Adrian.
Hi, Richard.
So here's the deal about that. If you do the coffee shop interview, you will never go through the frustration that every one of you are going through your life as you look at your printout right now. And if here it was the end of the month, you're probably filling in orders right now, and you're looking at all those zeros saying, why don't those people do anything? I can't believe it. All they do is order product every month. I can't believe they're not building a business. They got their health back. They can literally fly now. These people should be so grateful to me. Why aren't they building a business? And the answer is you didn't do the coffee shop interview on people. You didn't drop people right where you wanted them to be. You dropped them right where your agenda put them, which was not where they wanted to be. This happens to me all the time. People get their health back. They're out there living life, and their upline is mad at them because they're not building a business when they never said they wanted to build a business. They wanted to be able to go play tennis again. You literally gave them their life back. They are unbelievable grateful to you for that, and you've got a hidden resentment because they couldn't see this supposed business. What the coffee shop interview allows you to do, Richard, is drop people off where they want to be. The weight loss wafer thing. The guy hands me the weight loss wafer every day. I'm not interested in losing weight, man. I know how to lose weight. I want to build a business. If he would have come to me with the business conversation and stopped interviewing me with his eyes, he would have had a fighting chance at my business. But he was so arrogant. He said, this guy's like the best customer of the Haagen-Dazs store. That was dumb.
All right. So wrap contact mapping into this, because I know that's your secret sauce, remembering critical personal things about people. How do you wrap contact mapping into this process?
Here's what happens to all of you. You get this business. This guy's name is GI Purify. What a name, huh? And so you get his card, you put it in your pocket, and you throw it away, and you got it on your desk, and you can never remember GI Purify. That's impossible. Everybody's got systems that are ridiculously bad. It's either yellow stickies, it's business cards, it's garbage written on the back of business cards, it's Excel spreadsheet, it's Goldmine, it's ACT, it's everywhere but where you need it. That's where you need it. I have got you in my phone. I've got your blood type. I know everything from Coeur d'Alene. I know everything about you. I have things in my phone no one knows about you, and it's right at my fingertips. So if you start pushing buttons on this thing, I'm going to look up Richard Brooke, and I got a hand grenade to heave back at you, because it's not on Facebook. It's not on LinkedIn. It's not on Grindr. It's not on Twitter. It's not on any of those. It's right there in my phone. It's secret information because I mapped you. I documented things I know about you, and it's right here.
Hey, I got something I'm going to send you to upload to my my contact.
Okay.
I just spent a bunch of money having a consultant on Ancestry.com go back 5 generations on both sides of my family, and they sent me a 16-page report with about 98 attachments. I'm going to send it to you. Would you load it up into contact mapping so you have that on me?
Yeah, that'll be perfect, man. This thing can go on, and you should hear him interview, and we're going to be at a break here in about 40 seconds. Oh, we got to hold the clock up for the host again. Well, so anyway.
40 seconds, 11:29.
But Adrian speaks volumes in, because there's no cap on all the things he's got on you. It is beautiful. And I flip that back on people like you wouldn't believe. So you're not going to do anything here. All right. So do you want to take us out, or you want me to?
I'll take you out. Hey, everybody, this is the Genesis Network. Richard Bliss Brooke interviewing Tom Chenault, the host of the Tom Chenault Show on the Genesis Network Live. We're going to break. How was that?
That was
And
good.
we're back. We are perfect. That was so awesome. How you doing, Adrian?
I'm good.
If you think he looks like me, it's because he's my little boy. And he's been gone for a week. He's been working me to death for about how long? 2 years now? Almost ready. He finally took a vacation, and I missed him. And he has a little partner from MIT that just makes me feel stupid every day. Missed him too. Missed his kids.
So,
Unbelievable.
Adrian, where did you go on vacation, and what are you doing to promote contact mapping? What's the strategy to get it into the tipping point of everybody involved in sales and networking?
Yeah, so I was on a dude ranch outside of Missoula, Montana. I rode a horse every day for a week. I didn't even fall off of it, so that was a win. And I had a lot of fun, and we put the kids on horses, and it was a magical experience. My wife grew up going to this ranch, and so it was her first time. in my first time since I met her to go, or my first time experiencing it. So that was awesome, and a really special experience for her and her family too. So we are taking contact mapping, and what we want to do is have people have this experience where they feel like they're winning. Because you tell people about contact mapping, you tell people about the coffee shop interview, you listen to my dad describe what he does, and everybody, no one goes, that doesn't make any sense. What has people not do this is not that they don't think they should, or that they think it's stupid, or they think it's a waste of time. Everyone says, yes, I should do that. But what separates that from seeing the results is doing it. And the one thing that the app can't do for you is it can't actually make that connection for you. You have to take that step. But what we are doing, and really the strategy that we're continuing to evolve is we want you to feel like you're winning every day. We want you to have those breakthroughs where, Tom calls you up on the phone and he asks you how Haley's doing, and he asks you about your dog, and he remembers the things that are important to your life, and it's clear that he has a real understanding, remembering, and interest in who you are that's deeper than just what he was able to find thumbing through Facebook before he picked up the phone.
Yeah, right. Well, I just want to publicly acknowledge you, Tom, for the role that you've played in our family, reaching out, going out of your way 24/7 to support our family in its addiction issues. Not me, not Kimmy. But
Sugar. Oh, did I say sugar? Did I accidentally say sugar?
But you're the real deal, Tom. Some people talk the talk, but you walk the talk. And when people are in need, you go way, way out of your way to not just advise people, but get in your car and go meet with people and make phone calls and introductions and follow up, all in an effort to save people's lives. And it is literally saving people's lives. People are dying every day from some kind of addiction and abuse. And I just want to acknowledge you for being authentic to that cause and that passion. You're the real deal.
And you know what? It keeps me sober. It's selfishness. I guarantee you that. This weekend, we had a guy with us for 5 days, and we just chased him all over town. He's just a good little drunk, and he was really good to stay drunk. And I literally sat on him you know what? He didn't stay sober, but I did. And that's the beautiful thing about it, everybody. So, and Pamela put my phone number in there. If anybody in your family or you're dealing with alcohol or drugs, Richard wasn't kidding. I truly believe that I made some sort of deal with God that I don't know about, whereby he said, if you'll help drunks and alcoholics, one of the same, and drug addicts and homeless people, I'll help you make a living. And I think God has done a better job holding up his end of the deal than I have, actually. But I am telling you, my life is committed to that at a major league level, because I think it's the one place, now contactmapping.com, that Tom Chenault can really make a difference. So it's just exciting.
Yeah. So if any of you know anybody in your family that has addiction issues, go to contactmapping.com.
Yeah. Oh, we got to put a link in. That is a brilliant idea. See, he's a marketer. We're just a couple of dopes. Okay, you got to bring us back. Stick around 1 second. Go.
And we're back. This is Richard Bliss Brooke interviewing Tom Chenault at the Genesis Communication Network. People all over the world are watching this show. Thank you, Genesis Communication Network. And we're back now with Tom Chenault. During the break, we were talking about the efforts that Tom has made all over the world with friends of ours, our family, business associates, like walking the talk about helping people get through addiction and saving lives. And so, Tom, we were also talking about contact mapping quite a bit, but my next question for you, Tom, this might be, I don't know, maybe a challenging question for you. So dig deep. What are the parallels? How is being a successful network marketer like being sober? because, there's gravity that pulls all of us that are network marketers back into our shell, back into our fears, back into not connecting and contacting people, not asking questions. Just like I imagine for people that have issues with alcohol or drugs, there's that gravity of addiction that pulls them back into it. How are those two the same? How do you fight to stay sober, and how do you fight to constantly be out there in the world as an introvert networking?
It is so funny that you brought that up, and we did not talk about questions, but I'm telling you the parallels. God's got the greatest sense of humor in the world, and I seem to be talking about God a lot. I'm not a religious guy, I'm a spiritual guy, and I do give credit to God all the time, and I truly try to surrender to that conversation literally every minute of every day. But don't think that if we ever go out to coffee or anything like that, I'm going to try to do anything goofy around that. Just give me the cup. I don't need what's in it, James. At the end of the day, here's my coffee cup, and it's kind of indicative of my life. God's got such a great sense of humor that my coffee cup says this: I am a recovering alcoholic and network marketer. Would you still like to have a cup of coffee? Because I am literally everybody's worst nightmare. I get invited to literally nowhere because they know I don't drink, so I'm going to be boring. And they also know I'm probably going to try to have a whiteboard at their, in their parties. So nobody invites me anywhere, which is just beautiful because I'm an introvert. And it really doesn't matter to me that I'm all alone most of the time. But
all right. Well, so how do you go from that, Tom Chenault, to 1 million? Didn't you tell me one time you have 1 million people in your database?
Yeah, because
in your genealogy.
Yeah, because I am. Yeah, for sure.
How do you go from an alcoholic introvert who doesn't want to talk to people, nobody wants to be around them, to 1 million people in your genealogy?
Because I care so much about you that you know definitively that my eyes are popping open at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking about your problems. That's why. Yeah. So here's how that looks. You're drinking, my eyes are popping open at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to help you get sober. You're in my business, you're one of my leaders. My eyes are absolutely popping open at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking about your goals and dreams. And I want you all to think out there of when the last time you think anybody was thinking about you like that. And then, and more importantly than that, I want you to think about whether or not your organization, your leaders think you feel that way about them.
Ooh, that's huge.
I think
say more about that.
I think that's my secret weapon. And the parallels, nobody wants to be an alcoholic and go to an AA meeting. You get, your house is being foreclosed on, your car is being repossessed, your wife's ready to leave you, your health sucks, and the last thing you're going to attribute that to is your drinking problem. True? True.
Yep.
So
yep.
All of a sudden you go to AA and all of a sudden you thought about it and it was your idea. Same thing with network marketing. Nobody comes into this business because their life is all a bowl of roses. Something went wrong. They don't have any time. They don't have any money. They don't have any health. All of those things may be haywire. It's screwed up. And they go kicking and screaming into network marketing the same way. And they walk in the door. The alcoholics walk in the door and they say, okay, what do I do? Well, you come to a meeting every day. I don't have time. I'll go drink. You go out, you get drunk, crawl back in the door. Okay, I'll go to a meeting every day. What else do I do? You need to read this book. Oh, no, I'm not reading that book. They go get drunk. They crawl back in the door. I'll read the book. Then the next thing you know, they say, what else do I do? You got to do those 12 steps and you got to find a sponsor. What's a sponsor? That's the guy that's going to take you through those 12 steps. What do you think I am? An idiot? I'm going to do it my way. Go get drunk. They come back in the door. Same thing in network marketing. What happens? Bring them in, come to the meeting. You hate everybody at the meeting. The circle's for dessert. You're ready to shoot yourself in the head. You leave, you come back the next day. They said, okay, you're going to have to do exactly what I do to get what I've got. Oh no, I got this whiz bang autoresponder. I don't have to interview 2 people a day. I don't have to do the coffee shop interview. I'm going to get all these people on Facebook. I'm going to buy leads. I'm going to buy all this garbage and I'm going to be 10 times richer than you. Okay, we'll see you when you come back to the center line. And they come back to the center line, and we do exactly the same thing in network marketing that we do in Alcoholics Anonymous. They are complete parallels. So the coffee shop interview, my success, all of those things are a result of 3 different conversations that you are one of the few people that are very familiar with. One is landmark education, the forum, or personal development. Second one is Alcoholics Anonymous. And the third one is multi-level marketing. And all I did was merge all 3 of those powerful conversations into one miraculous document that you can get free at contactmapping.com called the Coffee Shop Interview. Oh my gosh, did I mention that again? Keep going.
That's brilliant. Hey, I'm curious. I love the parallel between AA and network marketing. In the path for a successful network marketer, do you have them read the same book they read in AA, or is there a different book that they should read to be successful in network marketing?
Oh, I'm so happy you asked. Beach Money or GoPro? That is so funny. So, all you guys, this is some of the truth. And I didn't even know this, and and the reason I had James bring this book out, more importantly than I have had a call every morning for the last 14 years called the Hair on Fire call. And I thought I named it. I thought of it. This book made such an impact on my life. It imprinted into my brain. And every day of my life, I've got the Hair on Fire call. I didn't even realize I stole it from Richard. And I've got Hair on Fire t-shirts that everybody in town, everybody in Longmont has them, because I bought like thousands of them because I thought it was my idea, and I had subconsciously stolen it from Richard Brooke because it's so important. And then he wrote the 4-year career. And trust me, if you don't have a room full of these books, you're out of your mind. And he's got them for women. He's got it for daughters. He's got it for moms, for dads, for puppies. You want this book. It's that good. I swear to you, it's that good, because it's going to let people with some brains understand that this is a better way.
And you can get those at contactmapping.com.
No, we need to put a link up. No, sir. Where do you buy them?
You can buy them on Amazon or richardbrooke.com.
Where do you want them to buy them?
I don't care. Wherever's more convenient to them.
Where do you make more money?
Oh, probably richardbrooke.com.
Well, go to richardbrooke.com, you guys. I mean, why pay Amazon?
Yeah, why pay Amazon? They're not network marketers. All right, so here's my next question. How much time do I have before the break?
4 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Great 4-minute segment. So, Tom, one of the things that you are recognized for, acknowledged for, rightfully so, is an extraordinary ambassador to our profession. And one of the things that I think allows you to be an extraordinary ambassador to our profession is that you represent a network marketing company owned by one of the good guys in our profession. So I want you to speak to, if you can, what does our profession need when it comes to company owners? What kind of people are Steve and Michelle, and how do they impact our entire profession? How do they lift it up? And I know you've got at least one massive personal story about how they took care of you and honored you and gave you room to roam and still loved you, as you say, and then loved you some more. So speak to our whole profession and ownership in companies and how important that is and what people should look for.
Here's what should have happened to every company out there. In 2003, I was making $21,000 a month with my company. And I thought I was hot stuff. So somebody came along with a really shiny penny and I left. And I went to another company. And I was there for 7 years. And I competed with my current company with everything I had for 7 years. It was crazy. And on the 15th of January of 2010, 7 years later, that first company, the company I left to join paid me $45,000 for my pay that month. And on January 18th, 3 days later, they went out of business. And it was like a hand grenade hitting me. And everybody ran hither, thither, and yon. And all kinds of companies were offering me money like it was going out of style. And I went back to my current company, the company that I'm with now, the company that I was with in 2003 with my tail between my leg. And they looked at me and said, "What are you doing back here? What's this going to cost us?" And I said, "I'm back because this is my home. It's not a house. Because I left and you never terminated me. Even though I was gone for 7 years, every month I sent you $250 and you sent me lots and lots of money." And I said, "There's not a company on the planet that would have not, they'd have terminated me, or the comp plan would have eaten me." And these people had so much more integrity than I did. They kept me in the game, and they paid me on the organization I brought them for 7 years. And that's just unheard of. And the reason that Richard brought that up is because there's a few, but not very many companies out there that have that kind of integrity. And we need more companies like that, because when you build these things, you should be able to keep them. Don't you agree, Richard?
Yeah, well, as long as you leave honorably and as long as you compete honorably, yeah, you should get paid on what you built. I mean, the company is earning, perhaps millions on what you brought them. And I know what you did, Tom. The reason I asked you that question is I watched the whole thing happen, and I didn't know the Wallachs back then, but I got to know them because I was so incredibly impressed with both of you. Your way of actually riding two horses, going after the shiny object. You did it with integrity. You did it with honor. It didn't work out, which most of the time it doesn't. And you actually had the humility and the courage to go back home and ask them to take you back in, and they took you back in.
Let's go to a break and continue this.
And now it's break. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. This is the Genesis Communication Network and the Tom Chenault Show.
Beautiful job. He's good at this. You're a lot better at this.
You should be a radio host. I love
that. Richard, I'm serious.
Plus,
it took me years to be able to say Genesis Communication Network. So how happy are you?
Couldn't be happier.
I mean, seriously. I mean, you're living your life dream too now.
Yeah. No, coming back and starting this company, having an accomplished dad who certainly knows a thing or two about networking and knows a lot about entrepreneurship and a lot of things, and who I had a great relationship with, but I've been gone for a long time. And if I'm completely honest, I was not entirely sure how it was going to go to be Chenault and Son contactmapping.com. And
it's really Chenault and Dad.
Yeah. And you let it be Chenault and Dad. Number one has been a tremendous gift to me.
His little girl, Lyndon, this morning, I said, "I have to go to work." She said, Tom, we could go to the park. I go, "No, we can't go to work." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because my boss told me I have to go to work."
Back to the salt mines.
True story. And she said, "Who's your boss?" And I said, "Your dad." She said, "No, Tom, no." I go, "Yes, you can't believe it. These people," I don't like the meetings, Richard, every week. I go to 2 meetings with them.
They're horrible, aren't they?
The stuff for accountability that
strategy and accountability.
I don't have it. I'm on Slack, Trello, Superhuman, all these things these guys communicate with. It is nauseating, the accountability they have on me every week, twice a week.
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Adrian, what's your next contact mapping event? What's your next webinar or Facebook Live, or what's the next big thing for contact mapping that people can tap into?
So we've got a webinar coming up. I think it's on the 18th. It's in a week or two. And it's the two of us actually. And what we're talking about is really that coffee shop interview idea, but it's how, so many people nowadays are initiating the conversation on social media, which is great, but it's hard to get deep if you don't ever get out of the chat. And so how do you move people away beyond the chat conversation into a voice-to-voice, into a video chat, into a face-to-face conversation, depending on where they're physically located. And how do you get better at moving those conversations forward? So it's going to be an awesome conversation. Pamela will post the link to register to that. I think she probably already has, if I know anything about Pamela, or we'll get it posted in the comments. But it's free. It's going to be great. And as usual, Tom Chenault will say something crazy. So you can.
Yeah, he will. You know, I don't know about other people, and I don't know why I do. I have I think about 6,000 connections on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about LinkedIn, but I get every day these LinkedIn messages from people, and it's almost like they're all scripted because they start off with, hey, this is, Tom Chenault, and I've got this software that, guaranteed to triple your sales. When can we get on the phone for 15 minutes? Go to my calendar below and find yourself a slot to get on my calendar for 15 minutes. And it's like everybody that's using LinkedIn to generate business uses this same pathetic, horrible approach, asking people to get on the phone. So I think this will be an extraordinary webinar that you're doing to teach people how do you gracefully move people from an online connection to wanting to actually take the time to talk to you. That'll be brilliant, because so many networkers today, their first contact is somebody online, somebody on social media. By the way, Tom, you promised me you would not be looking at Facebook during this interview.
I'm not looking at Facebook. I was looking on
On LinkedIn.
I was trying to prove up your point on LinkedIn, but we're just going to be in the show here. So we're staying with this. So stay with this conversation. What Richard's wanting to know is, how do you get people? I mean, we all think we talk to people, and it makes me crazy because I talk to leaders all the time about talking to their leaders. And so the leaders that are supposedly being talked to, I go, well, have you heard from your upline? No, I haven't heard from my upline in 6 months or a year. And then I call the upline and say, hey, why won't you call this person? Oh, we talk all the time on a text or an email or Facebook. No, that's not talking. Human beings talking to human beings is talking. Otherwise, you're just texting or you're emailing or doing all that Facebook Messenger garbage. Come on. This is human being to human being business, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like dating online. I mean, I don't know, maybe you can have an orgasm online, but that doesn't sound like much fun. That's the contrast.
It's fun,
but it's not a game.
I mean, the difference between texting people and messaging them and actually talking to them in person is that same kind of contrast. It's like, like romance online. I mean, that only goes so far, and it's not very far.
Yeah. Amen. And so everybody, the webinar we're doing, and it's in the comments, and maybe we can figure out a way to even say it on the radio for the people that are listening on Genesis. At the end of the day, treat people like you want to be treated yourself. You're not a chat. You're not a number. You're a human being that wants to talk to other human beings. We desperately want to be connected. The worst thing that can happen to you if you are a murderer or something like that in prison is to be put in solitary confinement. That's it. You don't want to be in solitary confinement. And we think we insulate with all our goofy political views or our religious views, and we're insulating ourselves against all the people that don't agree with us. No, you are isolating. And when you're isolating, you're pushing away. Stop pushing away is what I believe.
Nice Freudian slip that I programmed you with.
Unbelievable.
I got that thought in your head. You want to say any more about that? Where's Denise when we need her?
It's a terrible life, Richard.
When do we come back to the Genesis Communication Network?
We are live now. The break ended like an hour ago.
And we're back.
We've been
With the
back so long,
Genesis
so
Communication Network, this is Richard Bliss Brooke interviewing the Chenault brothers, Tommy and Adrian. And one of the things that you might have missed if you weren't with us at break is we were talking about their next big webinar where they're going to teach people how to take the connection and the communication from online to offline, from texting and messaging to actually communicating, actually talking on the phone, and maybe even getting like heart to heart in person, and how important that is. So when is that event, Adrian? Maybe it's in the comments, but speak to what are you guys doing that people are going to want to take advantage of?
Yeah, so we're doing the webinar. It's free. It's on July 18th. And by the time you hear this on the radio on Saturday, we will make sure that at contactmapping.com/webinar that we will get you set up so that you can register for that for free. It is going to be a fun conversation. You're going to learn a lot, and Tom Chenault's going to do something crazy. I just know it. So
you can count on it. And the reason is tightly wound and scripted and looking hip, slick, and cool is so overrated. What I beg you to do in network marketing and what's really served me well is being a hot mess. I am my best self. And that's all I ever strive to be every day, is vulnerable and authentic. And I learned that from Brooke, and I learned that from the experts and the icons. I can't be Richard Brooke. I can't be Milton Fogg. I can't be anybody but an incredible Tom Chenault. And the same thing goes for you. And my entire job is to constantly work on being a better me. Would you agree with that, Richard?
Well, yes. If you know, there's these great cliches like be yourself, everybody else is taken. And if you think about what the odds are for our unique, authentic selves, like if you could talk to 1 billion other people in the world and they wouldn't have the same eyes as you, they wouldn't have the same voice as you, they wouldn't have exactly the same face, guarantee you they won't have the exact same personality, the exact same belief systems, the exact same gifts and contributions. I mean, we're like 1 out of 3 billion that we made it up the uterine canal or whatever it is, you know, and we actually, you know, seeded the egg or however. That's like, I don't know, 1 out of 3 billion. And then if you think about everybody that's ever been born in the history of the world, we're talking about trillions and trillions of people. We're 1 out of trillions. And that's our magic gift. That's what people want. People don't want, you know, an actor. They don't want a cookie cutter. They want the unique gift that we are. And that's, you know, that's your secret sauce, Tom, is teaching people, hey, trust your authentic self. That's the magic. That's what connects people. And this webinar will be awesome because, you know, there's so many of us that are doing all of our connecting online. And just like you said earlier, you know, you talk to leaders. Hey, have you talked to your team leader? Have you talked to your up and coming leader? And they say, oh yeah, we talk all the time. But the truth is what they do is they chat or they message all the time. And that's kind of like dating online. You can only take that so far. I want to acknowledge you, Tom, and one other person in my life. I have 2 people. Now I actually have 3 people in my life that call me just to tell me they love me. They don't want anything. They don't need anything. They don't have anything to tell me. Tony Dawson, really good friend of mine. Richard Duran, who's been a friend of mine for 50 years. Tony's in my business. Richard is not in my business. And you. 3 people out of tens of thousands of people that I know that call me just to connect. And
So
you said earlier, Tom, something I just want to shine light on, like how you move people to be inspired and want to be on your team and want to produce is connect with them. Show them your heart, reach out, call them. Not to say, hey, what's your volume going to be this month and how many people are you going to recruit, but call them just to tell them how much you love them.
That's the only way to go, everybody. So the show's been over for hours. So you can ask any, and we'll clip it together so there's actually an ending to it. But I'm going to tell you something. All of you, that's my speed dialer that I wake up to every day. And that's the ones that, so he talked about the million. So it goes, there's 39 names on that. You can see that after that, it stops. Those 39 people run the Tom Chenault multi-level marketing business. Those 39 people run on, and that's a lot of influencers. Most of you don't have anywhere near that many. Those 39 have got to know how much they mean to you. They've got to know that. And you got to call them before the competition does. Because I have a great wife, you've got a great wife, you've got a great wife. I promise you there's a bunch of dopes out there trying to steal your wife, waiting for you to have a break in the armor where there's something goes wrong so they can slip in because you've made their, it's stupid. So you have to pay attention to your wife, and you have to pay attention to your leaders like they're your wife.
Yes, brilliant.
Because somebody else is going to love on them harder than you, and all of a sudden your wife's not going to think your downline, is as hip, slick, and cool as you think you are. And what I constantly do is I get up every morning, I do my hair on fire call, stealing the name from Richard, and then I hit those buttons. And on my way to my AA meeting, I rotate through those people. And as I call him, Corey Gold just called me 2 seconds ago. He's one of the people on the list. In fact, he's an important guy on that list. He is actually number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's 8th on that list. That's how big his volume is. That's how much influence he has on my organization and subsequently my check. This guy calls, I drop things to take his call. And he knows I love him at that level. Again, do your leaders know you love them? And what happens in this business, and my upline doesn't call me very much. And the reason she doesn't call me is she says to herself, why would I call him? He knows more than me about multi-level marketing. Well, great. You're sure as hell right, I do. But if you would call me every day and tell me you love me and actually care about my problems and my situation, and I'm not saying anything bad about my upline here, so I'm just pointing something out. She doesn't have to teach me anything every day. She just has to let me know she knows that I represent a big piece of her check, just like your leaders represent a big piece of your. Does that make sense? I hope.
Total.
Yeah.
Profound. Hey, this is Richard Bliss Brooke. I want to thank the Genesis Communication.
It's over. Jesus.
As we wrap up
like an hour ago.
Chenault show.
No, we need that. We needed to do that.
Genesis Communication Network. We're over and out. Up for a close.
Hey, Marianne, turn your camera on and just tell Richard Brooke how much money it's going to cost me just to get the guy that splices all this stuff together to try to get the,
I swear, every month we have to, we got to figure it out.
Tom Sheffield, he's the guy that clips it all together. And the people at Genesis are kind of jerky. And sometimes aren't they? They just raise hell if we're even a couple of seconds off. And Richard missed out on like a day.
Right.
Was I supposed to print out that schedule and have it in front of me or something?
Did you email this to him, Marianne?
Yes, I did.
But you didn't say in really big print, print this out. You didn't tell Kim to make sure I printed it out.
It's true. It's true. I didn't do.
You have the time schedule printed out. Do you have a time clock next to your thing?
I understand. You haven't done a lot of radio.
This is not my fault.
I'll take all the blame. I always do anyway.
So there's about 200 comments of people saying this was like one of the best shows they've ever had of us. Richard, you are gifted and you are a brilliant guy, and you're training organizations for Manatech, for Arbonne, for all kinds of companies. You're doing these 90-day runs. You're doing all this stuff. Talk about that a little bit. We've got a couple more minutes.
Well, Kimmy and I sold our network marketing company 2 years ago to Young Living, and one of the opportunities that provided was for us to get in separate lanes, because I owned the network marketing company. She was the top distributor. We both worked from home 7 days a week. That was just kind of entangled. And so one of the things that motivated us was, hey, if we do this, Kimmy, you focus on Young Living. I mean, I support it for sure. But it's 99% her. And it gave me an opportunity to focus on this business I'd had for 25 years, but I'd never done anything with it, which is training and coaching. And it's almost, it's the identical philosophies and strategies, not necessarily the identical strategies, but certainly the same philosophies that you teach, Tom, which is really just based in, the practicality of it is that if as networkers, we go out and talk to 100 people, 99 of them do not want to be network marketers. If we were just to cut through all of our BS and say, hey, I got this great weight loss product, we sell it kind of like Amway or Herbalife or New Skin, it's one of those things. Do you want to do that with me? 99% of the people we talk to will say no. We don't lose prospects because they don't like our products, providing we're talking to the right people. And we don't lose people because they don't like our companies. And most of the time, we don't lose people because they don't like us. We lose people because they don't like network marketing. And we're responsible for that because of the way leaders and gurus and companies have taught people to connect and build relationship and enroll and nurture post-enrollment. And the way people have basically taught it for 70 years is, Tom, your life is a mess. You're a loser. You're going to die homeless. You're going to be obese. You're going to have heart disease and cancer. I have all the answers for all of that, including I can show you how to make 20 grand a month and you don't have to sell anything. You should buy my product and you should join my team. And any response that you give me other than absolutely, where do I sign? My response to you is, well, you're wrong and stupid at the same time. And then we wonder why 70 years later, people don't want to join our profession.
Yeah.
We are a bunch of arrogant amateurs. And so I'm just very passionate about teaching people to do this in a way that is pure, authentic. It's fun. It actually works. It actually enhances your reputation with the people that you meet or the people you already know, as opposed to, makes it worse. Like, even if people don't buy your product or join your company, if people would do it the way you and I teach them to do it, their prospects, even if they don't enroll, will like those people better. They'll respect them more. They'll understand more about what we do as network marketers. And we might need to do this really, really well for 20 or 30 years before we change the tide. But my vision that I hold is there's a day in our future. You combine what I'm doing and what you're doing and what Adrian's doing, there's a day in our future where most prospects, when they encounter a network marketer, instead of having the attitude, oh, you mean like Amway? Oh, you mean harass all of my friends? Their response will be, oh, you mean like longevity? Oh, you mean like asset income? Oh, you mean like community and personal development? They have a totally different experience of the profession and the process. And when we get to that tipping point, network marketing will explode as a profession, because imagine how successful people can be if most of the people they prospect have a positive attitude about what we do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The brand new distributor who's just out trying to get 1 or 2 or 3 people on their team, 95% of them don't make it. They don't get to 2 active or 3 active people on their team, so they quit. What if 95% of the people that started in network marketing within their first month had 3 active people on their team? Because most people had a positive attitude. We would explode as a profession. And that's what I'm driving for. And I have a lot of fun doing it. And that's all I have to say about that.
Well, you're good at it. No, that's not enough. What's the name of that girl that just loves him up in Canada? Stephanie Moran. I'll never forget the day, because I'm a little jealous of Brooke. And I'll never forget the day she stood in Eric Worre's house, nose to nose with me, and said, I truly believe that this guy's coaching is what made me who I am today, to be standing in Eric Worre's house as a leader in network marketing. And Richard and Stephanie were not in the same company at that point. She had just gotten completely trained and developed by this guy. And what I got from that conversation was, I've got to look deeper. And because I thought it was just training like every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there does. And then I looked deeper and I realized that Richard had indeed done exactly what I had strove to do forever, but I'm a terrible trainer. And that is, he literally was putting on seminars where he was like doing a personal development course on network marketing, where you got both ends of the spectrum and it all met in the middle. And you've got people that are having huge breakthroughs, you hang around with the Foggs of the world and some really smart people. And you figured out how to crack the code and actually help people get rewired into becoming professional network marketers, haven't you?
Well, I believe so, Tom, but that obviously doesn't mean everybody I coach or talk to, transforms. But for me, it's like what I call myself is an ontological coach. And I use that word because then people ask me, well, what is that? So I get to explain it to them. But what ontological means is a state of being. And it's actually very simple for you and I to shift our state of being. And the best way to explain it is, our state of being is sourced in our language, in our story. So, yesterday I was coaching our daughter on doing some live filming on camera, and she had a story which sounded like, I need to impress, I need to act, I'm afraid, I'm not good enough. That story changes our body chemistry. It makes us weak instead of strong. It has us hide instead of, be a hero. And so what I found is, if you look at network marketing and you focus into what do we actually need to do as network marketers to be successful? Well, one of the things we need to do is connect with people, either people we already know or people we don't know. And, the example I use is, you're standing next to somebody in Starbucks, and the state of being that most of us are in when we're standing in line in Starbucks is, everybody else is none of our business.
Yep.
Like, who they are and what they're doing is none of our business. Our state of being is, they don't want to talk to us. Like, we would look like a fool or weird if we started talking to them. And so the state of being that we are standing in line is isolated and hiding and small. So what I do is work with people to shift their state of being. Like, your state of being standing in line in Starbucks is, I can't wait to learn the person's story in front of me, and they can't wait to tell me. That's who you are. And that's your body chemistry. And so actually asking somebody a question, that's the super simple part. And you don't even need to know what to ask them. You don't need a book. So it's kind of like, we don't need to know how near as much as we need to know why. And the why is sourced in, what is the story we're embedded in? And so, you know, what I show people is, you don't need to be afraid. What if I paid you $500 cash to tap the person in front of you on the Starbucks line on their shoulder and said, excuse me, will you tell me who you are? Or excuse me, where did you get that tanning solution? Or excuse me, I just got paid $500 to find out your story, right? So if I paid you $500, how hard would it be to connect? And the answer is, oh my God, it would be easy. Okay. How about we just connect? Because, you know, you've probably heard the story of the marshmallows. So there's, you know, this great scientific experiment that shines light on whether or not people are going to go through life addicted to immediate gratitude or immediate gratification, which would be the ultimate of that would be addicts. Or if you're the kind of person that is willing to invest for a longer term payback, which is, you know, people like that are willing to work out. People like that are willing to eat right for the longer term benefit. People who aren't, you know, eat candy for the immediate gratification. And the experiment was done by a scientist at Stanford, where she basically took little kids and put them in a room and gave them each a marshmallow and said, if you don't eat this marshmallow in the next 2 minutes, I'll bring you back a second marshmallow.
Wow.
And then she tracked the kids who ate the marshmallow for the next 25 years. The kids who ate the marshmallow earned less money, had higher divorce rates, were more obese, more unhealthy, worse mental health, less joy, less job satisfaction. And so, you know, this is all coaching people that, and I think maybe where I distinguish myself in the profession is most people in the profession are teaching people how, tactics and strategies. I teach people why.
Yep.
And then once they have the why, the how is so easy. And, you know, then the next piece you have to put into it, which is why I try to work with people for 2 or 3 months, is, you know, we have to compound consistency to build big teams in network marketing. It's like building wealth by investing. You can't save money every other month. You got to save money every month. You know, in the 4-year career, I have this graphic that if you take a penny and double it every day for a month, you have $5 million. Yeah, take a penny and double it every day, compound it every day for 30 days, it's $5 million. If you double it every other day, it's 163.
Wow.
And what most people are doing in network marketing, because they don't understand compounding consistency. That's a term I coined, but it's basically taking consistency and looking at, you know, it's easy to see when you compound money. It's easy to see when you're looking at math. It's not as easy to see when you're looking at what is the impact on my network, on my habit development, on my personal momentum, on my personal thought processes if I connect with people like your thing, you know, two connections a day, 1 coffee shop interview a day, right? The difference between doing that every day versus every other day, or actually the way network marketers try to become successful, is they connect and they prospect and they invite and they coffee shop whenever, as opposed to every day. The difference between doing it every day versus whenever it's convenient, whenever you can fit it in, whenever it works out, is the difference between building a $5 million business and a $163 business.
Yep. Well,
Is that enough on that?
Jesus. Yeah. No, it was awesome. That was
Thank you
great.
for asking.
So here's the deal.
Fell asleep.
Here's the deal. We've got to go. We're going to try to do everything we can to bribe him to come to Colorado, or maybe we'll go to Hawaii to do a contact mapping symposium there, because everything that he is what we need. Everything that you need is what he is. So I don't know how you plug into Richard Brooke, whether it be the 4-year career, Mach 2 Hair on Fire, going to one of his seminars, going to richardbrooke.com. Whatever is it?
Watch his Facebook lives. That's where you start. I love you. Every time you do one of your Facebook lives, Richard, I learned so much. So that's a great place to start, and then go buy his book.
Yeah.
Thanks. Best way to find me is richardbrooke.com or my business page, Richard Bliss Brooke. I'm going live today at 6 p.m. Pacific for about 30 minutes.
About what?
Stuff.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm going to type that one out. We'll just promote the crud out of it.
I'm week 5. I'm on week 5 of a 6-week summer series, how to make summer your best season of the year. It's all free. It's all on my business page, Richard Bliss Brooke, on Facebook, not to be confused with my personal page, which is also Richard Bliss Brooke. I'm a brilliant strategist in that regard. But people can, all 6 sessions are on my business page free.
Well, good. Well, we love you, Richard. Thank you. Hug Kimmy, hug Haley, hug Marley, and we love you. So here's what we have to say. You want us to do it now?
Wait, I have one question for you.
Oh my God.
What's Haley's dog's name?
Rover. She never told me. I wouldn't be in my map.
Right. So you gotta ask, and then you gotta put it in your map.
Yeah, well, you tell her that Tom's called her a few times. She has not called back.
She doesn't call me back either.
Tom's called her. I love you. Hey, thank you all for listening to the Tom Chenault Show on the Genesis Communication Network. We'll see you all next week, same time, same station. Thanks for listening. See y'all later.
Cut.
Cut. We're gone.
All right, we're out. We're done.
We love you.
Bye.
Thank you,
See you
Richard.
guys.
Love
Thank you.
you.
You're the